Hello everyone, Shane here with etrailer.com. Today I have a 2024 Lexus RX 350h. I'm going to walk you through how to install the Curt power taillight converter with 4-pole flat trailer connector. This is what our wiring is going to look like. It's going to give us all of our proper functions for pulling a small trailer. Brake lights, running lights, turn signals. It's going to come with a nice dust cap, so when you're not using it, you can simply cover the pins. That'll keep any dirt and debris from getting on them. Now you'll notice the brackets here. These do not come with the wiring harness. However, I highly recommend getting them. These are going to give it a more permanent mounting location. You can use the dust cover and hang it right here. But again, adding something like this is going to give it a much cleaner look and a permanent mounting location. Adding wire onto your vehicle is going to give you a lot of different options. Now that more accessories are coming out, like your bike racks and cargo carriers where there's lights on the back of them, you're going to need some way to power that. So if you have a hitch on your vehicle, I would go ahead and add wiring as well, so that you can either pull a small trailer, utility trailer, or you'll have your wiring for any of the accessories you may put on it. Now, as far as the installation process, it's really not too difficult. You are going to have to splice into your factory taillight wiring. It comes with quick splice connectors. I don't like using those because when you squish them together, you got your wires inside and you go to pinch those down, it actually starts to cut some of the wires that are in that line. The wires on here are very thin. I highly recommend using heat shrink butt connectors. When you connect those connections, you shrink them up and it protects the wires from any moisture or anything getting inside, and it keeps them from corroding. Other than that, if you maybe don't have the space or the time, you can always use our dealer locator to find someone near you that is able to put it in. If you are wanting to give it a try, follow along and I'll walk you through how to do it. Start your installation. Go ahead and remove your floor coverings inside, your cardboard cover that goes over the top, and then we're going to remove a couple of these panels. This one here just lifts up. This just lifts up. And then of course that pin popped out, but it is a push pin. You just push it down in the middle. It's right here in this corner. And then we'll pop this out. There's a little clip back here. We'll pop that out. Batteries right here for our power wire. There's a grommet right back in this corner that we're going to eventually run our power wire up from outside through it into the battery. Where we're going to go from here is removing our tail light. Take a trim panel tool, and right here on this edge, we're going to pop this out, and we're going to pull straight out with it. We'll set it aside. We're going to take a 10mm socket, remove those two bolts. Take your tail light, you're going to pull straight back with it. Make sure you don't put any pressure up on this front corner, and that'll give us our wiring. Pull it out like that. We're going to disconnect this plug, push in. Here, same thing, push in. And then we'll set our taillight aside. We're going to repeat the process for removing the taillight on the passenger side. Now we're going to test our wires to determine our turn signal, brake signal, and running lights. Let's do our left turn. Off. On. Okay, so the orange wire is going to be our left turn. Brake lights. Off. On. Red wire is going to be our brake lights, and our running lights are on. Running lights off. Running lights on. The white wire is going to be our running lights. Let's do that same process for the passenger side to determine the wire colors. I believe they're going to be the same side, but I do recommend testing them anyway. So because our wires are so short, they're gonna have to be fed up behind the rear fascia and attached to those wires. There's not a whole lot of room underneath because of all the stuff that's in there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna extend all these wires except for the white one. The black one, you get the black roll in your kit to extend that to the battery. So I would suggest about 3 foot of wire maybe. That should be enough. We'll strip back the ends of the wires. Doesn't matter if you color match them or not. Just remember what color wire is going to the color wire on the box here. So when you hook it up to the car wires, you got it hooked up correctly. I'd recommend using heat shrink butt connectors since the wires are going to live outside. We'll just repeat that for the rest of these. Again, we're not going to be splicing or cutting our ground wire. It already has a ring terminal on it. We're actually going to ground that underneath the vehicle. Once you get all your wires extended, we'll come back and we'll shrink up the butt connectors with the heat source. After you extend your wires, in order to get your wires up, you're going to need some kind of a pull wire. Now down inside here, there's a plastic covering, and right towards the body on that edge, you can actually get through there and send something down. I'm using an airline tube. If you have a wire hanger, if you can even find one of those these days, a piece of wire that's strong enough to get down there, send it down, and then we're going to take our red, yellow, and brown wire, attach them to the end of this, and that'll allow us to pull them up so we can attach them to our factory wiring on our vehicle. And we'll just pull our wires up, remove our pull wire, whatever you use to pull them up. Now we can start making our connections. We're going to splice the factory wire in half, add a heat shrink butt connector on one end. For our orange wire, which was our left turn signal, it's going to be the yellow wire on the wiring harness. We're going to take our yellow wire, put it together with one end of the orange, and run it into the other end of the butt connector. We're going to repeat that for our red wire and our white wire. Once you get everything connected up top, you get your light back in place. Come down to the bottom, you're going to mount your converter box here. I suggest using a self-tapper and drilling it right into the metal here. You can zip tie it to this wiring, but this wiring's pretty small and I have a feeling it'd probably bounce around. Your ground wire that has a ring terminal on it, use a self-tapper, put that right into metal as well. Zip tie your wires up out of the way. After that, we can route our green wire across to the passenger side. We want to make sure we're staying away from anything hot or moving. We'll go right above the hitch here, across. As far as our power wire that we need to take inside, our same pull wire that we use to pull our wires up to our taillight, there's a grommet right up in this corner. And that grommet's hard to reach from inside. So from the bottom, cut a little slice in it, feed your pull wire up into the car. We can take our black wire, connect it to the bottom of our pull wire, and that'll allow us to pull it inside so we can connect it to the battery. Start with my power wire that's going into the car, into the grommet. I'm just going to take it, as I mentioned before, we're going to push it in from the bottom. Try to get it as far as we can in there. Now that we've got that up through the grommet, we can move on to our green wire and start getting it routed to the other side. My green wire routed across to the passenger side. You can see all the little tabs here that are holding the fascia up. I ran it back behind that to keep it away from my exhaust. I've got my pull wire, same pull wire we use on the driver's side, fed down from the top side. We got my green wire connected to it. Now we can pull it up and get it connected to the passenger side tail light. 4-pole wire, I routed it the same way, only I came right here to the center. We're going to mount this to the hitch later on with a short bracket, a short no drill mounting bracket, and a 4-pole bracket to give it a little bit more permanent mounting location. For our passenger side, we're only going to be hooking up the green wire to our right turn signal, which is going to be the orange wire. Once you get your passenger side tail light put in place, then we'll come inside the vehicle. You can get a fuse holder like this, cut it in half, strip back both ends. You're going to have a butt connector in your kit. Put the butt connector on one end, ring terminal on the other. Take your power wire. It's going to be pretty long, so you're going to have to cut it down since the battery is so close. What I'm going to end up doing is zip tying it to this factory wiring right that runs right on the back here. I'm going to strip back this end, connect it to the butt connector on the fuse holder. And that gives us our connection to our battery. Take a 12mm socket and take this nut off right here on the top. We'll add on a ring terminal. You want to make sure the fuse is not in the holder when you make this connection. And we'll just reinstall the nut. Once you've made the connection, you've tightened down the nut, you can go ahead and add in your fuse. Now we'll test out our wiring using part number I26. At home, just hook it up to your trailer. If you hook it up to your trailer and there's an issue, you got to determine which side that's on, whether it's the trailer side or the car side. Using I26, it will narrow it down to the car itself. Brake lights, left turn, right turn, running lights. Once you've tested everything, you're ready to go. It's going to do it for a look at and installation of the Curt powered taillight converter with 4-pole flat trailer connector on a 2024 Lexus RX 350H.